of our dual nature. What about my rights? Hello, 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 hello. This is G. You are watching Allastrology. We are going to go over the May new moon. The May new moon. It looks really interesting. And yeah, let's just dive into the details and take a peek at what we got here. We'll walk through this together and see what we can see. And right off the bat, May 26th is the new moon. May 26th. You see, I've got Mercury here. Mercury is here because Mercury is the ruling planet for the new moon. And what do you know about Mercury? It's how we think. It's our mind. It's the way we talk, the way we communicate, but it's also learning, how I learn, what I'm curious about, my curiosities in general. Some people have, a quick mind. They're fast learners. Some people are like, oh my God, no, it takes me forever. Like, these are all Mercury things, but it's much, much more. So we've got the sun and the moon in Gemini at 6 degrees. You see? 6 degrees, that's what makes it a new moon. The sun and the moon meet at the same point in time together, degrees and minutes matching. And Mercury is right there, not far at all. Not far at all. Mercury is behind the sun and the moon. And that matters too. But it's only 4 degrees away. So it's, in essence, it's kind of part of this new moon, but it's close enough where we would call this like a cazimi. Pay attention to these degrees. Jupiter is a money degree. It's at a money degree. Mercury's at a money degree. Important, right? Uranus, the higher octave of Mercury, at a Mercury degree. Mercury is really pronounced. She shows up all over the chart. She's down here. Pluto's in a retrograde at 3 degrees, but it's at a Mercury degree. You see? So we've got Mercury strong in the chart, but we also have Pisces strong in this chart because the Pisces degree is 24 degrees and it's with the North Node, where we're headed, the future of our institutional energy, the future of the government, the future of the leaders of those governments. 24 degrees is the North Node. So this is the time we have kind of been waiting for. This is not the end all be all or the answer to our prayers. I don't want to mistake it for that when I say that. What I'm saying is, because of the alignments, this looks really like there's a strong connection, because you see we have Neptune right here at 1. It's a new beginning. 1 degrees Neptune. Neptune rules Pisces. So this Neptune ruling Pisces, the North Node in Pisces at 24, this is how it's going to look for the next 4 years, because this is the administration that we have for the next 4 years. Sorry, I'm only doing the United States government. I got enough on my hands as it is right now. I can't keep track of anything else because I can barely keep track of what the hell's going on here. Now, with that said, there's a strong connection because Saturn rules and regulations is in Aries at 0 degrees and Neptune's at 1. So you've got Saturn and Neptune are conjunct. So there's a real change happening here. The rules change, the structure and the order changes. Right? Saturn is more about the material and the tangible, and it cements things. It's very serious energy. It's very serious. And when it's Saturn in Aries, it's not only serious, but it's kind of hot-headed. It's kind of hot-headed. Fiery, a very assertive, maybe aggressive, a very warlike posture, face. Like, hey, we mean business. We're going to kick your ass. Anyway, this has to do with business and trade. I mean, it's written all over the damn chart. There's Mercury all over the place. And business and government, how we're moving forward, what we're releasing and letting go of. Unfortunately, this looks like this could be another big release within the government who work for the institutional energy, people who serve. Mercury and Uranus have an affinity with each other. And now we've got Mercury in air. You see Mercury at 2, direct contact with Pluto energy. And I brought Uranus up because Uranus rules the Aquarian stuff. And again, that's new. It's disruptive. It's different. Shocks, surprises. It's group energy. So power to the people power movement, power to unions. We have to unify. Otherwise, those who have power in terms of wealth and money, if they keep going unchecked, they will go as far as you let them. Those who are abusing their power will go and do and break the borders, break the boundaries, bypass the rules. They will do whatever until the people say enough is enough. This is talking and communication. And because it's a new moon, it's a new beginning, it's at 6 degrees. So Gemini, the mind, Virgo energy, 6 degrees is health, mental health, the health of my mind, the health of education. So we got to bring Jupiter into this because we think universities. Also judges, judgments, and rulings. Judges, judgments, and rulings have been unbelievably huge in the United States with all sorts of illegal maneuvers happening with arresting and illegally detaining, illegally deporting, illegally imprisoning human beings. Everything against freedom of speech. Everything that is against your rights. And Gemini energy is so much about speaking, communicating. We think of those First Amendments where everyone's always yelling, what about my rights? And it's like, that's Gemini energy, which is my right to read any book I want, my right to learn whatever I want. Jupiter at the Taurus degree, the Venus degree in Gemini. Remember, Venus and Mercury are always communicating. So we have to swing over to Venus. And lo and behold, she's in fight Aries. She is in I'm not backing down. And this Venus on this day, at this time, at the Scorpio degree. This is a Venus where she's got the Scorpio power. She's got the magnetism. She's got, Venus energy. It has to be properly harnessed and you have to properly be able to control it because otherwise that desire can override your own sense of a moral map, moral compass, the navigating within morality and making sure that you're not abusing powers, but also those of others and even the will of others, because it's Scorpio energy and has that ability to do that. And that's where it can get tricky. So this is a very powerful Venus. She's impulsive because she's in Aries. She might be childlike because she's in Aries, but very eager, assertive, aggressive, wanting to be fiery and independent, and definitely not going to back down. Venus at 20 degrees in Aries. Now, Venus being at that 20 degrees takes me over to Pluto, 3 degrees, commerce, trade, and business. So we think tariffs and who has the power, you see? So it comes always down to business. Now, that takes us to Scorpio. Why? Why are we looking at Scorpio? Well, we got partnerships strong in Scorpio. Venus is sitting at a Scorpio degree. Scorpio is shared values and shared money. And we have Juno here with Black Moon Lilith. They're both retrograding. So Earth's riches are underlined because Scorpio is that old money. And so you think of oil, gold. We think of some of those like natural gas, exactly, natural gas for sure. This is a big deal. This is a big, big, big deal, but also all the riches that are needed. What do they call them? Those rare earth minerals. All the riches that are needed, Earth's treasures that are needed for the technology and health, day-to-day routines, and even work, job, and tasks and projects. Possibly pets are part of this. Gemini is your local community. There might be something here where people are utilizing, networking, coming together to, we think of farmers markets, at least where I'm at, farmers markets, where people who have whatever it is they have. Some people bake, some people sew, some people do art. I mean, there's a lot of different skill sets that people have, but trade. So that's where the barter and the trade with my local community. And because of the technology, our local community is way bigger. It's Gemini energy. It's the exchange. It's the back and forth. But don't forget about education. This is so important. The health of our education. All right. So I love this new beginning. 6 degrees talks about your health and your day-to-day routines of your mind, but don't forget your gut. Your stomach is the second brain of the body. Keep that in mind because how you feel has everything to do with how you function, has everything to do with your capacity, your intellectual capacity or your non-capacity. We also think of being hypercritical and being really just like this screams details because it's Mercury, it's details. It's 6 degrees, it's details. So there's something here where we might be aware, we might be made aware, we might come across, we might be learning, we might be watching videos, we might be creating videos. There's something here where we're staying extra focused because it's the details, it's the minutia. But Gemini has I said we're staying focused. Gemini can be very scattered. That's the thing with Gemini. It can be extremely scattered. So this new moon at the 6 degrees where it's very hyper focused on the details, there may be an opportunity to learn how to use Saturn's power basically, because Saturn is a sextile and so is Neptune and so is Sirius, 60 degrees away, to organize, to learn how to manage the time better, especially if we're online, because this is a sextile. Neptune is right there. So how do I get sleep and respite? How do I relax my eyes even, right? So this speaks to me in a big way. And then the food, for sure. And then Hercules being there. Remember, this is 60 degrees away. So this means that it is supporting this energy. It's here to support. Saturn is based on my long-term goals. It adds structure. It organizes something. It says, oh, I can help you figure this out because we're going to set up like a system. We're gonna put things in these compartments, right? It's material, it's tangible, so it's very realistic energy. And it says, this is how we're going to move forward, step by step, one ring on the ladder at a time. So for an orb for this new moon, because we got so many objects here, I would say that if you have anything in Gemini starting at 0 degrees, all the way to, man, this is a big orb because Aldebaran sits at 10. So I was going to say 8 degrees, but if you've got something at 8 in your chart, you got Aldebaran sitting there at 10. We have a midpoint, a Jupiter-Uranus midpoint at 12. We've got a Vulcan at 13. You see, there's a lot here. So to me, this huge stellium, I would love to say that this means this is going to have a great outcome, which it can. Usually they say, it's going to take on a spiritual tone, and usually a spiritual tone could mean protection, especially for those of you who have Jupiter as your greater benefic in your chart. This can be beneficial. at the same, which means you have a community that's probably already established. You probably weren't a stranger in your community, or you're able to find where your tribe is and your community people you can do business with, people who will treat you like a human being no matter what. A great example of this is estate sales. I was talking to a young lady the other day, and she mentioned that to me, that she had just started going to estate sales in the last month or two. And she said that she was just at one that morning. And she said, I walked in. And when I walked in, there was a couple of people ahead of me in line. And each person that walked in, they were greeted by somebody. She said, when I walked in, nobody greeted me. It's not that there wasn't anybody there. That person didn't greet me. She said, and I thought that was kind of odd. She's like, so I kind of just took a few steps and started looking around and turned to see if maybe this person, she said it just struck her as odd. Well, the very next person that came in right behind her, because, you come in like through the front door. It's not like a big crowd all at once. It's one at a time. So the next person that comes in behind her, the person with the estate that was running the estate sale, greeted that person, greeted the next person. She said she thought it was really odd that she wasn't greeted. Again, she was seeing like this person's like acting as though I don't exist. They're not making eye contact with me. It's as though they don't want me here. She said, so at that point, I said, you know what? I think I'll just leave. I don't need this. I don't need to be here, is how she put it. Because she doesn't have any, she's got a really great mentality. She said, so I just left. I said, good for you. Good for you. You don't need to be there. When people don't welcome and embrace you, leave. It's that simple. It's that simple. Although I know it can be way more complex than that. But disruptions, different, new, independent energy, it's all here. Work, community, health. Health is a big one. Health, including the technology and the phones. It's very big and hopefully becoming a real thing. But education and intellect, developing our minds, huge, 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 huge. So for this new moon, I'm going to give you an orb from 0. I'm going to say from 0 to about 13 degrees. I know that's crazy huge. So this means that with this new beginning, for the 24 hours, right? The 24 hours, you're going to expect things because the moon moves, right? The moon, within 2.5 days, the moon will no longer be in Gemini energy. So you will notice things within that 24-hour timeline. You'll notice things if you've got objects at those degrees in your chart. Some may be small. Some may just be these little details here and there. And that would be normal, okay? But there can be an elevation and downloads coming in through your mind too. And how to pay attention to things that you might have been asleep to before, especially reading headlines or titles and making an assumption and reacting instead of mindfully responding, instead of listening so that you can mindfully respond. Because communication is so big with Gemini, so big. And Gemini can be extremely gossipy, and it whittles away its time and it doesn't realize it because it's just all about this. While there might be people around you who have a focus, who have the opposite of Gemini, Saggy, who have tasks and projects and things that they're trying to focus on. And by constantly in their ear, you're stealing time from them. You see? So time is part of this because Saturn rules time. Okay. And so we think of the long term and the long haul and my long-term goals, my long-term financial security and stability is part of this. So time, Saturn is here to teach us to use our time, our resources, and our local community wisely. So 10:02 p.m., the 8 hours before this, are the hours of power. That is when you set your intentions. Remember, Mercury, your mind, this is a big deal. How you talk and communicate. Do people walk away when you start talking? When you talk, do people actually listen to you? Do you feel like people don't hear you when you speak? These are all things to consider. Do you wish that do you aspire to be a different kind of thinker or communicator or writer or learn learning a language, even learning about other cultures, even. This would all be Mercury. Traveling, short trips, short journeys, my neighbors, my classmates, my siblings, the merchants within my community, business, and trade. How will you use this valuable new moon? Set your intentions. It is the 8 hours before. So the 8 hours prior to 10:02 p.m. is the hours of power for setting intentions. All right, I hope this helped. Appreciate your time, and I will see you in the next video. Take care. I don't care how you identify, how you look, where you come from, where your tribe is. Gemini energy says we're a community, the master of none, but there is a lot of support in Gemini. I mean, there's a huge stellium in Gemini, which brings forth a lot of strong Gemini energy. So we're being aware of our dual nature, of our very contrarian ways of, they said this, I believe in this, and then at the same moment realizing the thing I just said is actually opposite of what I said. Do you see? So it's like having this, you said yes to this and you said yes to this. How can that be true? And finding out the reality that two opposing things can be true at the same time. And that's the conundrum. We always feel like we have to pick a side. But Gemini energy is really about, on a higher level, it's about brotherhood. And I hate saying brotherhood, sisterhood. It's about humanhood. It's understanding there is only one race.